In the hushed corridors of the royal palace, King Daniel found himself grappling with a truth that cut deeper than any sword. Marquis Benedict, a man he had once affectionately called uncle, now stood at the helm of Cairo's descent into chaos. The once harmonious kingdom teetered on the verge of destruction, and Daniel knew that drastic measures were imperative to salvage what remained. Daniel's contemplation led him to a pivotal decision, a strategic shift in focus from the impending attack on Benedict's castle and the aristocratic faction to the defense of the beleaguered Western Front. It was a gamble, one that he believed held the key to the kingdom's survival. However, Daniel couldn't shake the gnawing fear that this move would only embolden the aristocratic faction, allowing them to exploit their ties with Kronos, the ominous empire lurking in the shadows. In a dramatic exchange, King Daniel confides in Simon, expressing his desire to maintain a facade of weakness and incapability as a ruler. Despite this, King Daniel adamantly asserts that he refuses to be remembered as a traitor to his homeland. Urging Simon to swiftly reach out to Roman Dimitry, King Daniel underscores the importance of immediate action. Then on the magic call with Roman Dimitry, in a momentous exchange, King Daniel reveals to Roman the unsettling news that Marquis Benedict has solidified an alliance with the formidable Kronos Empire. The second line of the Western Front has succumbed, and the impending fall of the third line looms ominously. Despite the critical importance of dismantling the aristocratic faction, King Daniel emphasizes his reluctance to grant unchecked authority to the empire's army. Daniel voiced these concerns to Roman, seeking guidance in a turbulent sea of conflicting interests. Roman, pragmatic and seasoned by the harsh realities of warfare, warned Daniel of the repercussions of indecision. He cautioned that regret would become an unwelcome companion if Daniel failed to quell the rebellion swiftly. However, Daniel's focus remained fixed on the impending horror emanating from the West, a force threatening to engulf the entire kingdom. As the weight of responsibility bore down on him, Daniel grappled with the paradox of leadership in times of darkness. Roman, perceptive and insightful, reminded him of their shared commitment to cleansing the kingdom, regardless of the adversaries they faced. He forced Daniel to confront the harsh truth that leaving enemies unpunished would only lead to a future marked by even greater sacrifices. In a moment of reflection, Roman pondered whether Daniel, born in peacetime, could ever be the king the kingdom needed in these tumultuous times. He recognized Daniel's struggle to accept the harsh reality and the sacrifices inherent in leading during dark times. In the dimly lit chambers of the palace, Roman conveyed to King Daniel the critical state of affairs at the Western Front. Unlike the preceding defensive lines, the third stood fortified with a capable army. Moreover, Kronos, hurriedly preparing for the onslaught, had not managed to muster their full might. Roman's assurance to Daniel lay in their commander-in-chief's competence. Roman extends assurance to King Daniel, proposing a strategic plan. If the Western soldiers can hold their ground for a brief duration, Roman pledges to swiftly address the entire faction led by Marquis Benedict within 3 days. With determination, Roman vows to mobilize to the Western Front and thwart the advances of the Kronos Empire. Daniel, burdened by the weight of his decisions, agreed to Roman's plan, committing to sustaining the defense for 3 arduous days, regardless of the cost. He implored Roman to swiftly quell any rebellion, demonstrating a resolve to uphold order even amidst chaos. With a heavy heart, Daniel braced himself for the sacrifices ahead, knowing that the fate of Cairo hung in the balance. As night cloaked the land, Roman sprang into action, orchestrating the movement of troops under the cover of darkness. The element of surprise was their ally as they swiftly maneuvered into position, catching the aristocratic faction off guard. With strategic precision, Roman's forces severed the retreat path from Benedict's castle, effectively trapping their adversaries within. While the enemy slept, oblivious to the impending doom, Roman's troops awaited the inevitable moment when the magical shield protecting Benedict's fortress would reach its breaking point. Every passing minute was fraught with tension as they bided their time, knowing that their decisive strike would come when the enemy's defenses faltered. With dawn's light heralding a new day, Roman addressed his assembled soldiers, his voice steady and resolute. He informed them of the imminent failure of the shield enveloping Benedict's castle, signaling the dawn of their final assault. Yet, amidst the anticipation of battle, an unexpected figure stepped forward, eager to claim his place on the front lines. Count Parchus, once a member of the aristocratic faction, now stood before Roman, a testament to the shifting allegiances wrought by the turmoil of war. In a poignant moment of redemption, Parchus revealed his past defiance of Benedict's orders, choosing instead to ally himself with Roman's cause. His request to lead the charge was not merely a bid for glory, but a heartfelt plea to prove his unwavering loyalty. Roman, taken aback by Parchus's transformation, couldn't help but see a reflection of a figure from his distant past. Memories of a blood demon, driven by unyielding devotion and tempered by the passage of time, flooded his mind. This enigmatic figure, known for his insatiable thirst for power, had undergone myriad transformations before ascending to a position of authority. Yet, beneath the veneer of strength lay the essence of an eccentric old soul, unchanged by the passage of ages. In the crucible of conflict, the blood demon fought with unwavering tenacity until the bitter end, standing shoulder to shoulder with the ultimate victor, Joong-Hyuk. Theirs was a tale of resilience etched in the annals of battle. Meanwhile, Roman turned his attention to Parchus, urging authenticity in their interactions. He assured Parchus that there was no need for pretenses, offering a conditional reprieve for past misdeeds if Parchus could prove his mettle in the impending war. Amidst the chaos, Roman, with a commanding gesture, singled out Parchus among the frontline warriors, declaring him the traitor of the aristocratic faction. Undeterred, Parchus, with a fierce determination burning in his eyes, pledged to lay down his life in service to Roman Dimitry. This proclamation marked a poignant moment of loyalty and commitment in the face of impending turmoil. As the sun dawned on a new day, whispers of support from the formidable Kronos Empire reached the ears of the soldiers in the aristocratic faction. The news, like a gust of wind beneath their wings, lifted their spirits and swelled their pride. In the midst of this heightened morale, Felix, standing alone before Benedict's imposing castle, contemplated his debt to Lord Roman. Felix saw an opportunity to repay Roman's faith and trust in him, and he resolved to employ the formidable Phoenix magical tower's secret weapon. Felix, invoking the spell named Combustion, summoned a majestic dragon into existence above him. The soldiers of the aristocratic faction, witnessing this spectacle, were left bewildered and confused by the lone figure's mysterious actions. Unveiling the full force of his spell, Felix unleashed a fiery rain onto Benedict's castle. The magical shield, once impervious, crumbled under the relentless assault, sending shockwaves through the enemy ranks. Pandemonium erupted as soldiers scrambled in desperation to escape the blazing onslaught. The castle walls, once standing tall and defiant, now succumbed to the fiery deluge. Amidst the chaos, Count Parchus, leading his troops, charged through the breached fortress walls. He plunged into the fray, displaying remarkable agility and skill as he swiftly dispatched numerous adversaries. Parchus, defying expectations, employed an acceleration spell that allowed him to take down foes with unparalleled speed. In a battlefield where others sought safety, he embraced perilous tasks that would have been shunned by the faint-hearted. The gamble paid off, and Parchus, risking life and limb, proved his loyalty and worth to Roman on the battlefield. Having fulfilled his pivotal role, Count Parchus paused to reflect on the significance of his actions. He recognized that the time had come for Roman Dimitry to step onto the stage and play his own decisive role. As Roman strode into Benedict's castle, the aristocratic soldiers recoiled in alarm, branding him as the feared demon of Cairo and rallying to eliminate him by any means necessary. Yet, Roman welcomed the epithet with a wry smile, finding a strange sense of pride in the moniker. With a swift and calculated grace, he dispatched his adversaries with ease, leaving a trail of defeated foes in his wake. Meanwhile, in a clandestine magical communication, an aristocratic soldier delivered grim tidings to the faction's leaders. The castle walls had been breached, the defensive shield depleted, and Roman Dimitri's forces had routed the soldiers sent by each noble family. Before the soldier could finish, Roman seized control of the communication device, his voice resonating with steely resolve. Addressing the assembled traitors, Roman's words dripped with disdain as he assured them of their impending demise. He dismissed any hope of mercy, declaring that they would face the full extent of his wrath for betraying their homeland. Even if they were to beg for clemency, Roman vowed to mete out justice upon them and their descendants for generations to come. Marquis Benedict, stunned into silence, could only listen as Roman delivered his chilling ultimatum. With a final warning, Roman promised that their paths would cross soon, leaving Benedict to ponder the inevitability of their reckoning. A decade prior, the corridors of power in Cairo bore witness to a pivotal exchange between King Daniel and Marquis Benedict. King Daniel, cognizant of the precarious situation with the empire, implored Benedict to consider the lives of those valiantly battling against imperial forces. Frustrated by what he perceived as the king's incompetence, Benedict discerned that Cairo's inability to make swift decisions had allowed pro-imperial factions, aligned with Valhalla and Kronos, to expand their influence, gradually gaining control over the city. The funeral of the queen, who also happened to be Benedict's sister, became a somber backdrop for contemplation. A disquieting thought gnawed at Benedict's mind, wondering if Cairo could endure under the continued rule of the seemingly ineffective king. This contemplation stirred a profound dissatisfaction within Marquis Benedict, prompting him to express his lack of trust in Cairo's royal family to other nobles. A collective sentiment resonated among the discontented nobles, leading them to forge an alliance that marked the inception of the aristocratic faction. While their initial focus was born out of dissatisfaction with the monarchy, the faction's objectives evolved over time. Marquis Benedict, in particular, began to harbor ambitions of ascending the throne, setting in motion a series of clandestine maneuvers that would culminate in a bid for power. Fast forward to the present, and Marquis Benedict found himself in a state of panic, reeling from the impact of Roman's ominous words during the magical communication. As he reflected on the intricate web of events that had led to this moment, Benedict realized that Roman Dimitry had effectively dismantled his carefully laid plans to seize control of Cairo. A sense of impending doom gripped Benedict, realizing that his life hung in the balance if he remained entangled in this mess. Faced with the urgency of the situation, Marquis Benedict, driven by fear and desperation, rallied the remaining members of the aristocratic faction. In a desperate bid for survival, he urged them to scatter and seek refuge while appealing to the Kronos Empire for assistance. Chaos erupted as the faction members, once united in their dissent, now scattered like leaves in the wind, each seeking refuge and salvation. Amidst the chaos, the unexpected figure of Kevin, one of Roman's formidable soldiers, emerged as the harbinger of doom for Benedict and his fleeing comrades. Positioned strategically at the gates, Kevin intercepted the retreating faction members, swiftly taking down the soldiers tasked with guarding the escape routes. In a futile attempt to resist the inevitable, Benedict commanded his remaining soldiers to attack Kevin, hoping to turn the tide in their favor. However, Kevin, a force to be reckoned with, effortlessly neutralized the attacking soldiers with a single, decisive strike. The sight left Marquis Benedict stunned and disoriented, prompting him to abandon his futile attempt at resistance. In a desperate bid for self-preservation, Benedict hastily retreated, racing toward the other end of the corridor. In the unfolding drama of betrayal and pursuit, the narrative took a dramatic turn as Chris emerged from the shadows, boldly positioning himself in front of Marquis Benedict. With a decisive strike, Chris swiftly incapacitated the soldiers attempting to shield their leader. Witnessing this unexpected intervention, Benedict's survival instincts kicked in, propelling him into a frenzied sprint for his life. As he darted through the perilous terrain, the urgency of the moment eclipsed any other considerations in Benedict's mind. Thoughts of vengeance simmered beneath the surface, a vow to settle scores in the future once he had eluded the immediate threat. Spotting a concealed cave entrance, Benedict seized the opportunity for temporary respite, vanishing into the refuge of its shadows just as the royal soldiers spilled from the castle, determined to track him down. Within the hidden sanctuary, Benedict, while contemplating the tumultuous events, couldn't shake the bitter realization that everything had gone awry due to the meddling of Roman Dimitry. Despite the throne of Cairo beckoning tantalizingly close, it seemed an unattainable dream, overshadowed by the chaotic repercussions of Roman's interference. Benedict's aspirations pivoted from seizing power to a fervent desire for revenge, a commitment to redress the perceived insults he had suffered. However, amidst the echoes of Benedict's contemplation, a member of the aristocratic faction emerged with somber news. Their escape routes were blocked, and the possibility of evasion seemed extinguished. As Viscount Owen approached, Benedict tensed, anticipating the worst. The air was thick with tension, the outcome hanging in the balance. Yet, before Viscount Owen could execute his next move, the dynamic shifted once more with Roman's sudden intervention. With strategic precision, Roman incapacitated Owen. The cave's entrance now harbored an unexpected visitor, as Roman entered and issued a stern command for Benedict to reveal himself. In the dim recesses of the cave, Benedict faced a pivotal choice: comply with Roman's directive or resist, risking further escalation. The weight of the decision pressed heavily on Benedict's shoulders as he emerged from the shadows, his fate now inextricably tied to the whims of the enigmatic Roman. The scene transitioned to the bustling streets of Cairo, where Benedict, now in handcuffs, was paraded before the public eye under Roman's watchful gaze. Frustration and indignation boiled within Benedict as he confronted Roman, protesting vehemently against the perceived injustice. He argued passionately, highlighting his sacrificial efforts in defense of Cairo during the reign of the perceived incompetent King Daniel. Benedict questioned the fairness of his treatment, grappling with the notion that his allegiance to the kingdom should have shielded him from such a humiliating fate. In a desperate attempt to assert his worth, Benedict challenged Roman's understanding of loyalty, probing whether Roman could truly serve a king like Daniel with undivided devotion. Benedict's tirade extended to the recurrent border breaches by the Kronos Empire, laying blame squarely on the shoulders of traitors within Cairo's borders. Marquis Benedict, plagued by doubt, turns to Roman, seeking validation for his actions. Roman, though understanding, points out the lack of tangible results from Benedict's endeavors. Despite Benedict's formation of the aristocratic faction, Cairo remains unchanged in its power dynamics, and the kingdom's security hasn't improved. Roman urges Benedict to consider serving a greater purpose beyond personal gain. Stunned by Roman's insight, Benedict reflects on his choices. Roman reassures him that protecting the weak is commendable, but cautions against disregarding the consequences. Benedict, repentant, offers allegiance to the royal family, but Roman deems it too late. With a single decisive blow, Roman ends Benedict's reign, extinguishing the once mighty giant of Cairo. The scene transitions to the royal palace, where a soldier informs King Daniel of Roman's triumph over Benedict and the aristocratic faction. Daniel, recognizing Roman's accomplishment, prepares to celebrate. However, his focus remains on the looming threat from the Kronos Empire advancing towards the western front lines. Daniel urges Roman's immediate deployment to confront this danger. Promising Roman the highest reward in due time, Daniel underscores the urgency of Roman's task and the paramount importance of securing the kingdom's borders against external threats.